Hi, it's Jeff Ondash, and welcome to Business as Usual. What we're doing with this show is we're trying to highlight local businesses and all the good things that they're doing in our community here in the Mahoning Valley. Some of these people started out with just an idea, and they've turned it into multiple stores. They've turned it into a very, very good living for themselves, and they give back to the community in great ways. So today we are at All American Comics. I'm here with Greg Bartholomew, and you are the proud owner of two great comic stores here.
That's right, Jeff. I've got a store here in Boardman, right on 224 over by Southern Park Mall, and we're in downtown Warren. We've been there almost 30 years, and we've been here in Boardman for 25.
Okay, now when I say comic store, it's not just like when I was a kid you'd go in and there was a comic rack. Comic stores today are so much more different because there's a big gambit of it. You have comics, you have figurines, you have games that are being played. So let's talk a little bit, just an overview of the business.
Well, we predominantly sell comic books, but we also sell a lot of trading card games like Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and Yu-Gi-Oh! We sell Funko Pops. We sell T-shirts. We sell role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. We sell a lot of miniature games too. So we have a very broad spectrum of things that we carry at both of our stores.
Okay, so by having one in Trumbull County and Warren, in downtown Warren, and one here in the heart of Boardman, you're basically, you've encapsulated the two counties.
We hit the two biggest named areas, I would guess. You know, even growing up, everyone knew of on the square in downtown Warren, also on the strip in Boardman on Route 224. So that's what we wanted to pick when we were coming up, and that's where we've been.
Okay, so you didn't decide when you were in high school that I'm going to own a comic store. You actually went to college to be a school teacher. So
Correct.
How did this all come to be?
I always wanted to own a comic book store, but my mom and dad, kind of impressed upon me that I should get an education. So I went to school. I was a math teacher for about five and a half years, and also ran the store in Warren while I did teach at night out of General Motors. And then I added a store in Austintown for a couple years and opened the store here in Boardman. So after that, I've been pretty much self-sufficient as a small business owner for the last 25, 26 years.
And school teacher has kind of gone away?
My teaching certificate ran out in like 1998, so I never went back and got recertified. But, fingers crossed, and everything's worked out so far.
What would you say was the biggest hurdle for you in establishing and going out and making that move to open up your first store?
Just the guts to do it, and having faith in myself, faith in what I wanted to do, and faith in what I sold. And branding a name also, I've learned over the last 10 or 15 years, is as important as anything else when it comes to owning a small business, regardless if you're in retail or service industry or anything like that. You really got to brand yourself as somebody who knows what they're doing, be consistent.
And that all goes back with top of mind awareness. If, not everybody, I think the figure is that 99% of the public is not in need of any particular product every day, but right. On one particular day they will be. So when you're marketing, you have to market to those people knowing that someday they're going to want your product, so that your business is going to be at the top of their mind.
Yeah, that's what we want to be known as, the place to go in the Valley. I think we've accomplished that, or at least I hope we've accomplished that. And it's been a great ride. In the last 2 years have been the best years of our, business so far. It's hard to explain, but last year was the best year ever, and this year will probably wind up being our second best year.
So let's take it. So for about 17 years, you've got the two stores running now, and you're solid in these two footprints, and you're not going anywhere, and you're going to stay here, not thinking about growth or anything. But then COVID comes along and just throws a monkey wrench into everything. So how initially did it affect your business?
Well, we were closed for the 8 or 9 weeks, just like everybody else, and we relied on online sales. So it's nice having a collectibles type store because you can sell things on online platforms like eBay or Amazon. We predominantly use eBay. Unlike a restaurant, you can't really go online and sell a spaghetti dinner, but I can sell X-Men comic books online, or Pokemon cards for that matter. And that's what we did for 2 months.
So eBay really became a revenue stream that when you initially started this, that was never in existence, obviously. So that comes along, and that really opened up your market from Mahoning and Trumbull County to basically global.
Yeah, I mean, we would use eBay probably for 5% of our sales before that. And then in 2020, it was probably close to 30% of our sales
Because of the shutdown.
because of the shutdown.
So COVID came along. You had that speed bump for about, let's say a month and a half to 2 months. You used online, and then you come back into it, and then nobody really knows what to expect because it depends on the business. Some businesses did good. Some businesses had a tough time making it through COVID. How was it for All American Comics?
It was weird. We had no idea what to expect on that Tuesday. There were no new comic books being published for at least another month to 6 weeks. So we had to rely on our in-stock inventory.
So that makes 3 months without
Pretty
comics?
much 3 months without new comic books coming out every week. So we still had our back issues. We still had our, regular inventory. But then that Tuesday hit, and we had the best Tuesday in the history of the store. People were so just wanting to get out of the house, do something besides, just pen up and came in. And, the first 2 people through the store at Warren spent like $3,000. Yeah.
And you need to know, too, that when he says a figure like that, that's because I'm sure they were buying a lot of old vintage, which can get pretty pricey.
Right. Yeah, most of those, the majority of those comic books were, $400, $500, $600 a piece. Okay.
So let's say, just to give the audience in Spider-Man #1, if you're lucky enough to have one of those and it's in really good condition, throw a price out.
$150,000.
Wow, all the way down to marked up one.
You can get a beat up one for about $4,000 or $5,000 now. Jeez. Yeah, the market's really.
And that's not a mint one. $150,000.
A mint one will cost you about $500,000.
Wow. Does anybody have any idea how many are in existence?
Yeah, there's censuses for ones that have been professionally graded, so you could probably get on there. And I would say in the near mint category, so you're talking. On a scale of 1 to 10, they have like 9.2, 9.4, 9.6. There's probably 20, 25 copies like that in existence. That's it.
Wow. Who would have thunk? Okay, so we get through COVID. Now your business is really, it's gone like straight up after being shut down and it wasn't just a weekly, for that first initial week.
It lasted quite a while. 2021 was our best year by almost double what our best year before that was. Wow. And then this year obviously is down, but like I said, it's probably on pace to be our second best year's gross sales wise.
Even with the economy and the inflation right now.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to? Did all of a sudden the comics become popular again, or was it just you've just done a decent job here and you're bringing a lot more customers through the door?
We've got a lot of customers that come through the door. I think it's still a little hangover left over from last year. A lot of people still speculating, still buying stuff. Even in 2008 when the economy tanked, we were only down 10 or 15%. So people don't need comic books in this type of stuff, but they want them, so they will make their efforts into saving their money for their predominant hobby, in this case.
To keep up with it, because there's those storylines, man. You can't miss a month, because if you do, it puts you way behind.
Right.
All right, so now it brings us to present day, and you're doing well. You're rolling along. You're still on that upward fashion, and there's been more comic book stores that have opened in this area.
Yeah, with the uptick we saw in 20 and 2021, we've probably seen between even sports card stores coming back, a couple new comic book, a couple gaming stores. It's probably a half dozen new stores that have opened up in the last 18 to 24 months.
But even with that, you're on an upward trend.
We're still on an upward tick.
Alrighty, where would you go from here? If you're doing that great, do you think there might be a need for another store in the area, or are you just happy with what you want and just want to focus on growth here?
I'm happy with what we have here. I've got plenty of inventory. I'm not looking to open up another store. I don't know what other market I could get into, possibly Western PA or, South maybe in Columbiana, but there's stores there, both spots that I don't really need to move there. I'm just trying to make these 2 stores better and better every day.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the products that you sell, like the Funko Pops, and you have a vast collection of those. So if you're a Funko Pop collector, and if you've not been in one of his stores, you got to get in here, because he's got past, present, and let you know what's coming in the future on those. That's a big line, and that's also something that people could go on eBay. Why is it so important? I know the reason why, but I want from a business owner standpoint. Why is it so important for you, because I know personally you do a lot of shopping locally too. Why is it important for a person to shop locally here?
Well, you need to shop local, because if you don't and these small businesses go away, then you are at, for lack of a better term, the mercy of an Amazon or a Walmart or the big box stores. And even in the last 5 or 10 years, you've seen the demise of places like Kmart and JCPenney, and Woolworths, a few years ago, and Sears go away. I mean, these are 100 to 150-year-old companies that are staples of the American capitalism. And I'm not against capitalism. I'm all for people making as much money as possible, but local businesses also create local jobs. So, and that's what we need to keep the middle class going, to keep people in work locally so they're not traveling to bigger cities, an hour commute each way to Cleveland or Pittsburgh or what the case may be. And I mean, the Mahoning Valley's always been very supportive of small business. They always will support small business, and it's up to the small business themselves to keep those people coming through their doors. When a new restaurant opens up, you can't get in for the first 2 or 3 weeks. If that restaurant is consistent, the product's good, that restaurant will survive. But if they don't know what exactly needs to be done to begin with, there's a long wait, the food comes out improper, this area is on to the next restaurant or the next thing to cover. So, but I think our consistency's what's a strength of us. We're open every day of the week. We're open at noon, 7 days a week. So, I mean, if you want to come in, we're here. We're always here. We don't take time off for vacations, very, very little. In the last 30 years, we've closed due to weather 3 times. 2 times of that was this past January. So for 29 years before that, we closed once due to snow.
One last thing, and it seems to be a problem that's really not only in America but all over the world, and that's employees. And you've been pretty blessed. You've got some employees that have been with you a long, long time, and they're staying here. So you must be treating them right. Out of my 3 employees, my least tenured is 23 years. And the other 2 are 27 and 28. So, I mean, I would think, we do a good job of keeping them together. I mean, it's a low impact job, but it can be high stress at times because there are lots of products. We do get very busy at times. There are lots of events that we do have here. So, but it's all fun. If you don't like what you're doing for a living, you're looking for an early grave. Yeah. And obviously you like what you're doing. So is there an end game for you? You want to keep this for so many more years and then maybe possibly move it on to somebody, or just going to keep going until you can't go anymore?
I mean, like I said, I'm not breaking bricks for a living. I'd like to do this another 4, 5, 6 years personally, doing what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, and then eventually let my guys take over, and then be here part-time, do the paperwork and all the other stuff that I'm accustomed to doing, and maybe doing a couple more out-of-town conventions and things like that, do a little traveling. But, I mean, for as long as I can see, we're going to be here.
All righty. So they're open 7 days a week for you. I know growing up, as a kid, they were 10 cents and 12 cents back then, and the DCs and Marvels and the Golden Key? Gold Key, that's it, yeah, and Harvey's, and gosh, there were so many great comics back then, and it's really how most of us learned to read.
Right.
Actually, I mean, we were given comic books by your older brother, and that's really a way we all got ready for school. But it's a great thing, a great hobby to be involved in. It's really changed. If you've not been into one of his stores, come on in, not only for the trading card aspect, but for the Funko Pops. He's got a great selection of past editions, maybe some of the comics you grew up with. You might not be interested in some of the new storylines, but all those old ones are still out there and still available, and that's kind of where I gravitate to myself.
I read the same things over and over.
Yeah, they're the ones that I liked when I was a kid, and I still read them today. But Greg, thanks a lot. You've done a heck of a job here in the Mahoning Valley. You give back in a lot of community ways, and we thank you for that, because again, as a small businessman, you know that you're dependent on the local people coming and supporting your local business. And it goes the other way too. As a local business, he has to be kind and be priced right in order to keep you happy and keep you coming back through the doors. And when you see a business like All American Comics that has been around for so long, they're doing it right. They're not overcharging you. They're giving you the selection that you want, and they're taking care of you with great customer service. So why don't you give us some information again on your hours, your locations, website, all of that good stuff for our audience.
We're in downtown Warren, right on the square on Market Street behind the courthouse. Also, we're on 224 here in Boardman between McDonald's and Jay's Hot Dogs. Monday through Friday, we're open 12 to 7, 12 to 5 on Saturdays, and 12 to 3 on Sundays.
That's All American Comics. Greg Bartholomew is the owner. Stop in. You're going to see him at one of the two places. You could deal personally with him. And if you've got an old collection sitting around the house, or you know somebody, one of your relatives or friends, and they're looking to sell it, this is the guy you want to talk to, because he knows more about comics than anybody in this part of the country. And when it comes to getting your collection sold, he's going to treat you very good. I wish you all the luck in the world and another 22 years of success to you. We'll be doing this with walkers in 22 years. Thanks a lot for watching. Again, the business as usual. And please, as always, support your local businesses, and they'll treat you great and have you coming back. You take care and have a great month. We'll see you again real soon.